Hi, everybody. Welcome to No Story is Sacred. If you've never listened before, basically we're 4 siblings who grew up talking about the art of storytelling. Now that we're adults, we're still talking about it, and we're inviting you to join the conversation. I'm Kat. And Brendan, tell them about the Twinkie.
What about the Twinkie? I'm Brendan, and back off, man. I'm a scientist.
That's what I was going to do.
But the joke is he actually is one Pippin, so...
Fuck you, science is in my degree title.
Okay, librarian.
Master of Library and Information Science.
Uh-huh.
More like a master of evil.
Well, that too.
Ooh. And you do know not to read from the Book of the Dead, which is not the same... This is not relevant to this particular episode, but that's your skill set, I feel.
Listen, I had a thought of what if I could just go, listen, I am a librarian, and I was like, oh wait, no, that's the wrong movie.
Wrong movie. It's a great movie, though.
And, y'all, there is no Pippin. Only Zool.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Wait, does that mean that you've met your gatekeeper or your keymaster? Because, I would be so happy for you.
Listen, I am an independent demon.
Who don't need no keymaster.
Indeed, I do not. No, remind me to get into the gender politics of that whole situation.
Wait. Girl.
Oh, yep, last one.
Gaslight girl. Old boss gatekeep. Wait, no.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, I'm sitting here being like, why? You don't need a keymaster when you can buy your own. Boom!
It's true.
What?
Oh, but I now desperately need an image of Dana as the gatekeeper with girl boss gaslight gatekeep text over it.
Listen, you have a Photoshop. Do it.
It's true. Remind me after.
Wait. Guys, I think that we have a 4th sibling, though.
Oh, yeah.
What?
I've heard somewhere.
The best one.
Yeah. And I'm Alex, and it just popped in there.
What just popped in there?
What did you do, Alex?
When I was a kid, down
I remember the name of the camp.
No.
Camp Carpenter, Al.
Just go with Camp Carpenter. Nobody else will remember.
As a kid at Camp Carpenter, we just did story analysis.
The one thing that will never hurt me. Criticism.
The author is dead. But the Stay Puft Marshmallow is very alive.
No, Kat.
Yeah,
You don't understand.
Uh-huh.
The author is dead. And we're Ghostbusters.
Dun, 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 dun,
Oh
dun, dun.
my god. And you know what that brings us to, you guys? You know what that brings us to? That sounds like...
Alex has gone bye-bye.
What have you got left?
Guys, but this represents the last of the petty introductions.
This could be an hour of us making references and not doing any.
That's
Listen.
legit.
That is...
So I wanted to see how long we can go on without saying that one specific quote, one specific quote, because I want to prove a point to, I want to prove a point to, How I Met Your Mother.
Oh shit, okay. Well, I was gonna go with, Brendan, I don't know if, there's one question on everybody's minds, which is, how is Elvis, and have you seen him lately?
And then I just kind of shake my head at the camera. Like a good salesman.
We should go on to the next bit. Go.
I tried to transition.
We're ready to...
No story is sacred. What do you want?
But Alex, wait, what are we ready to do?
We're ready to critique you.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh, man.
Okay. But you guys, I don't know if the listening audience is caught on yet. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they realize what's finally fucking happening.
Let's make the subtext text.
I mean, we took a little bit of a vacation.
A little bit. And then we also skipped what we said we were going to do back in, December? What?
Listen, the holidays do weird things to all of us.
It's true.
We had to spend some time finding a place with enough electrical, wiring. Wait, Brendan,
this place is a demilitarized zone.
There you go. But, we had to get the second mortgage on the house. My parents grew up in that house.
This place should be condemned.
There's a poll. Oh my god. Listening audience today.
I know this is a segue, but I was at a friend's house back in the fall, and he just bought it, and it legit has a fireman's pole in it.
Oh god damn.
Oh man.
I mean, there it is.
Kat, I have a new thing to add to your list of needs.
Look, I'm sorry, but the second a pole gets added to the inside of my house, there's gonna be other questions asked.
I mean,
Pippin.
It connects the master bedroom to the kitchen.
Okay, that would be fair. Okay. All right. Okay, we're good now. We're good.
But here's the thing. It's the only way back up.
Ooh.
Gotta work that core.
Okay. Anyway, enough segues.
Guys, for the
We're
love of
dropping
God.
off or picking up.
For the love of God. And the flowers are still standing.
I was going to say the podcast is still standing.
I'm sorry, you guys. This is just not your lucky day.
Oh my god.
Today, for the love of God.
He slammed me.
Keep going.
But wait, Alex, here's your snot.
Think about it. If you get this right, you will have started the episode for millions podcast listeners.
Cats and dogs living together. Mass hysteria. Jesus Christ. Rise from the dead. Okay, anyway. Today, people of Earth. Wait, different show. We're talking about the 1984 movie, Look Who's Talking To.
I knew it.
Ghostbusters. I'm sorry. So spoilers abound, but I'm also going to say the odds of us not talking about the various other Ghostbusters cinematic universe and also media universe is
the real Ghostbusters cartoon. It's going to come up a lot.
Listen, there were 2 different Ghostbusters cartoons, and they were both valid.
The Extreme Ghostbusters was awesome. Do not disagree.
I just remember both of them being like fantastic. I get 2 for the price of 1.
One of them had a disabled Ghostbuster. I remember that.
Extreme.
One of them had like a very Egon's hair was blonde somehow.
Extreme.
Well, that was also real Ghostbusters. But yeah, go on.
Because as we all know, Egon's super blonde.
I think it was a case of we can't use their exact likenesses.
Mm-hmm.
But Slimer. Slimer was like
there was actor license likeness issues. But anyway, let's go on and actually talk about what episode.
So spoilers abound.
Is all we're getting at
For
here.
the love of God. We've already told you the entire film at this point. If you want specific content warnings about things we may talk about and the very many quotes we're apparently going to do during the course of this, check out the show notes on nostorysacred.com. For those of you who've never seen Ghostbusters, apparently we're just going to act out the whole fucking thing during the course of this recording. But out of order, and that's what makes it special. And transformative. Can't get in trouble for that.
The sibling cabal is lost in time.
That's a different story, Pippin. For those of you who've never seen Ghostbusters, the summary, according to Google, is: after the members of a team of scientists lose their cushy positions at a university in New York City, cue here a lot of in-jokes about academia, Pippin, they decide to become, quote-unquote, Ghostbusters, to wage a high-tech battle with the supernatural for money. Oh, this is a really accurate one for once. They stumble upon a gateway to another dimension. Well, a doorway that will release evil upon the city. The Ghostbusters must now save New York from complete destruction. They were doing so well, and then, stumble upon, and just New York? Come now.
Well, we don't see anything outside of New York, and as we all know,
New York is
yeah.
New York is everything.
But guys, he's a sailor. He's in New York.
We get this guy an 8.
Nobody steps in a church in my town. Steps on a church in my town. Jesus.
Okay, you guys. Okay, the plot. Let's see.
Plot. Okay,
let's see.
Can we fucking make it?
Oh no,
right,
no,
y'all.
we cannot.
I know we're not, because I know the exact spot I'm going to end up stopping.
Oh, I know the spot you're going to stop too.
Here's the thing, there are two that like happen right. So
buttons.
So here we are, New
There
York
they
City.
were.
So no shit, there they were.
Side note, what would happen if Ghostbusters took place in Boston? Let's think of that for later.
Holy
Go on.
shit.
A lot more people would be saying in fucking what do you think? Fuck. Really.
Forget the church. He stepped on a Dunkin' Donuts.
Nobody steps on a Dunks in my town.
Like, well, there's another one fucking over there. That's not the point.
That's my Dunks.
That was my Dunks. They're the only ones who did coffee right.
I didn't have to place an order there. They always had it ready. Come on.
They knew it. They called me. They had a nickname for me. They had my coffee ready. What the fuck is with now I gotta do...
Anyway.
So, the movie opens.
We're doing so well, you guys. So well.
We're professionals. This is a new year, new us, same bullshit.
Oh my god, has my bullshit infected all the rest of y'all?
Nah, it's Ghostbusters.
That's true.
The problem is, this movie of our youth,
Yeah.
It really was.
weirdly intersect with a lot of our modern day adult interests.
Well, I almost think it's formative? What? Sounds fake.
And it's also just a cult classic.
Yeah.
And also one of those weird things where it's like an actual original story, and those are, like, strangely really cool.
Yeah.
But let's just start. We start with charlatan Peter Venkman.
No.
I will
We
defend
open in the New York Public Library.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Them lions.
I jumped the gun.
You did. Where there is patience, there is fortitude. Chilling out outside the library. It ain't hard having fun when you've got a library card.
Those are the names of the Lions, audience. Pippin just knows them because she's a fucking nerd. There.
Listen, in my defense, I do not remember which one's patience and which one is fortitude.
Oh,
Anyway.
yeah, that definitely makes you a loser in that one.
Yeah, no, I bring
Which
shame
one-
to my profession.
Which one is the one that we have on the mantle back home?
It's
That's
either
the
patience or fortitude.
Mythiopic That's just the Mythiopic award.
I think it's called the Aslan.
Oh, no, that's a different.
Oh.
It's the Mythiopic award, and Mom and Dad just called it the Aslan.
Because it looks cool.
Because it's a lion. Anyway,
Fair enough.
The New York Public Library.
We will get there, guys.
It's like basically the cold open. A librarian is going through the basement stacks, and creepy things start happening.
Excellent, what's it called? Practical effects. So it looks like this is like the legit shit. It doesn't look dumb. It's like, oh, that actually is floating, etc.
So books are floating around. The cards in the card catalog go flying, and I, over here, was all like, shouldn't the rod be keeping them in place?
Shh, Pippin. The ghost removed the rod.
And then my next thought was like, oh man, that's going to be a bitch to reorganize.
Oh my, can you imagine? Well, not least because of all the snot.
Oh yeah.
I think they're just going to have to do a recataloging.
Oh, that's going to be
no.
a fucking nightmare.
Listen,
And
somebody
just
blew their
know-
nose, and now they gotta collect it.
See, here's the thing. The ghost librarian is very particular about what she believes to be the categorization system that should be in place and will not hear other opinions on it. It's a very rude ghost.
I think that ghost was a visitor, not a
Technically,
librarian.
according to like the story, as we will eventually, hopefully, tell theoretically that's kind of accurate. That most of the ghosts that appear are not there because they are have a purpose or because they're recordings, but because they are, the dead are coming back.
I think Alex is arguing that the ghost is of a patron of the library, not of a librarian who used to work there.
Oh, okay.
I have a counter argument.
I do too. So what's yours?
My counter argument is that it is the ghost of a librarian who actually knew Melville Dewey.
Oh,
and so
shit.
got real mad at the Dewey Decimal System.
Wait. Is it Dewey, the hot Dewey?
Melville Dewey was hot, but he was also such an asshole that he got kicked out of the organization he had found.
I love that. There's also the fact that she did turn and shush them. when our heroes come across them.
I will let you know, patrons shush librarians all the fucking time.
That's amazing.
I have been shushed more than once.
And you own a shushing stick.
Anyway.
Here's my argument. Wait, but I do actually have an argument, which is that I also worked in an academic library back in my youth. I'm not
Did
Pippin
you?
level. Yeah, I did. And I'm not Pippin level, but I did do this. And one of the things I know happens in libraries is that, as you, get more books, or as the vibe and flow of the consumer
Collection.
base, yet has to change to match, what you're doing. You shift books all the fucking time. It's like,
Yep.
what are you doing? You're putting away books and then you're moving them somewhere. It's a constant. So if you're a ghost that's like, I want to repeat what I do, if you go back to the same section over, like, this does not belong here.
Fair.
Anyway.
But, wow. So we've gotten exactly 2 minutes into the film, and listening audience, I don't know how Brendan's going to cut this. We had maybe 2 minutes of just a dead air at the top. We have been recording for 20 fucking minutes of just pure content to get 2 minutes into the film.
So
We're professionals.
The librarian finds a ghost, who then scares the crap out of her.
We don't get to see it. We don't get to see what, which is very effective, building for the audience. All we see is, and scream.
Suspense.
Yeah.
And a wind machine, but anyway, and a title card.
A bright light.
And then we cut to Dr. Venkman being a creep.
He's being a creep, but he's not being a charlatan scientist.
No, he is being a charlatan scientist. Absolutely.
He had the credentials, and he does know what he's talking about, but he is a charlatan.
He's being a creep. He's not being fake science. He is doing negative reinforcement.
IRB?
No. First of all, IRB, very important question. And also, whatever he had told them, he was giving a negative reinforcement to the guy, but not to the girl.
The girl was control.
Holy shit.
We do not know the exact nature of the experiment.
I'm saying
it could have been negative reinforcements on the dude, positive reinforcements.
Well, wait, we do though, because the male participant says, "What are you doing?" And Venkman's like, "You signed the form, didn't you?" He's like, "Yeah, but I thought I was, be testing this." And he's like, and he gives the name of his study.
Yeah, it's negative reinforcement to ESP ability.
And then you're saying that the girls fuck. Oh, that almost actually works.
Now,
the
thing I will concede on the bad science, I'm not saying he's a great scientist because he's kind of shitty at his job. That's why he gets fired later.
I think he's the grant writer.
I'm saying, I think he didn't properly give informed consent to his participants because there's the line that the students is like, I didn't know you're going to be giving us electric shocks.
To be fair though, this is the 80s.
That's true.
People did weird shit back then.
I'm just saying, I'm not sure IRB would have approved this.
When did the IRB start? Because you can't tell me that the IRB also approved shit like the random prisoner experiments.
That's partly why IRBs became a thing.
Exactly. So, okay, you guys talk amongst yourselves. I want to find out when the IRB started.
As if I'm not already.
It depends on. I think it depends on the institutions, and then.
Well, this is Columbia. Is it Columbia?
I thought it was.
They never say the university.
I thought they did.
No.
I was keeping an eye out for it.
It looked like Columbia.
What university did Ghostbusters teach at? In the parapsychology, which I'm like, fuck yeah, no, it's a Columbia because it's the Upper West Side of Manhattan.
But they never name the university.
Everybody and their it's Weaver Hall, apparently. I don't know. Or it's filmed there.
The thing is, like, it can be filmed there, but not explicitly stated for, filming, storytelling reasons.
Legal.
I'm just skipping down to the wiki. That's the comics. No, I want to know the real thing. Dean Yeager, though, he's not real.
Well, of course not. Hey, Dean Yeager.
Oh, no, according to, it's supposed, regardless of whether they say it, within the draft of the script, it is intended to be Columbia.
That's
the latest one, by the 1983 draft onwards, earlier they were employed by New York University.
Here's the thing. Fuck the script. If it's not in the text of the film, it's non-canonical.
Fine.
So anyways.
God,
so he's doing this
a great time with this. Okay, go on.
And he tries to fuck a student.
Oh, and by the way, that card thing, that is an actual ESP testy thing that people do. It's called like an Esper deck. Yeah. And I have one in pastel colors.
Oh, and for the kids at home, IRB began in 1974.
Oh shit, so this was just hinky.
Well, imagine institutional inertia also playing a factor, so maybe there was still some learning pains, as it were. Sketchy as hell, I will admit. Again, Peter Venkman, kind of a freaking creep.
So he's creeping on the student, and he's about to make a move. Asks her out for dinner.
Oh, is it 8 o'clock? 8 o'clock?
I was just gonna say, 8 o'clock.
You are a genuine phenomenon.
And that is when Ray, played by Dan Aykroyd, bursts in, goes, I find a ghost, at the New York Public Library. And they meet Venkman there. No, they meet Egon Spengler.
It would have worked if you hadn't stopped me.
Egon.
And
Hey Pippin.
yes,
Remember that time you tried to drill a hole in your head?
that would have worked if you hadn't stopped me.
Anyway, we're gonna end up quoting no story's sake. We're just gonna be live quoting the entirety of Ghostbusters tonight.
I swear to God, after we're done with this, I'm probably gonna go turn it on again.
Probably.
I forget the librarian's name now. Gladys?
But you know what? Her uncle thought that he was St. Jude.
Jerome.
Jerome, the good one, because Jerome was the one who believed that demons were appearing before him in the form of incredibly beautiful women trying to get him to sin.
Oh, what?
More relevant, St. Jerome is a patron saint of librarians.
Oh, see, you and I went different directions with that.
Huh. So...
I'm going to double check that Jerome thing just in case, because if I'm wrong, then I've just gotten to some a saint's naughty book.
Then you're going to hell.
If you're wrong, you'll go to jail. You'll enjoy it.
But if we're right.
If we're right.
Anyway.
I'd say that's a yes.
They question the librarian who saw the ghost. They go to see if they can see it themselves, and they, in fact, do. And then they run out screaming because they just saw a fucking ghost.
Ghosts are real. Oh god.
Do you smell something? Which is, I feel, it's an underrated line.
It's a great line.
Oh yeah. Lots of good, in case you haven't been able to tell, lots of good lines. Hey.
It's
all quotes.
It's almost as if that this movie was written by a bunch of comedians in their prime.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. What?
Whoa.
I believe that the history of it, so far as I know, is that I think Dan Aykroyd had basically a page worth of jokes. And then showed it to everybody else, and they were like, you know what, this is fucking brilliant, let's go!
Yeah, half of my Google Doc notes is just quotes.
Yes. That's valid.
But yeah, so they then realize that all their theories about the paranormal have been correct, and they get back to their nab just in time to be kicked out by the university.
Peter's like, I'm surprised that I thought I just had a sweet gig.
Meanwhile, Egon is like, I've been doing the numbers. I could catch one of these.
Egon's on the side doing actual science, but in a way that maybe he shouldn't be.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of, oh yeah.
Okay, I'm actually going to discuss seriously here. Egon, these three boys represent, the three kind of scientists that you'll meet.
Ooh. What?
I'm here for this.
Brendan's like,
then we decide which one Brendan
is. Dan Aykroyd, Ray. I forget.
Idealist.
It's the idealist. He's the puppy. We can save the world with science. What science? And science.
But a very good, I would say, still a good researcher.
Yeah.
He puts in the work.
He
does.
Yeah, he puts in the work. Egon is I only understand the world through science.
I say he's legitimately the mad scientist of the group.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
he's the one who actually was ready to go. He's like, I just need the proof with the numbers, and I have it now. Here's the particle accelerators.
Yeah. And Venkman, he's the scientist who has who gets the good grades and has the charm to pretty much get the money out of it.
I think he's definitely the money guy. I think he's the one who can write grants or proposals, not necessarily
science communicator.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But also, sometimes you gotta have the storyteller. You have to have somebody who can really sell the sizzle. Not just the sausage, but the sizzle.
Listen, science communication is actually a really important thing.
It really is.
And to be fair, and that we see that reflected later when he's the one who's able to be like, Mikey, you will have saved the lives.
Yep.
and that's what it is. And the thing is, I think that matches, because Ray and Egon step back. They know where they are on this, who does what in this collaboration, in this science team, in this lab, Yeah.
And later on when, Winston and signs on, he's the workaday guy.
I don't think he's a scientist. I think he's a lab tech.
Yeah, he's the workaday guy.
Oh, yeah. But ends up being the lab tech who later on would
moral
become
compass?
moral compass, but also just like puts in the hours, puts in the time, and ends up being the most successful later on.
Yeah, because he's doing it from the perspective of, I got a job.
Yeah.
So he's not chasing the green fairy that is absinthe and science. He's not in the weeds like Egon might be, or trying to get away with something the way Peter is.
Least likely to fudge statistics of the group.
You know what? They could fail as a lab, but he can go on to just be another tech at a different lab.
Yeah. And we've seen where Venkman, if he doesn't and have trials to overcome, where did that eventually end up? He'd either be running two big concerns outside of Atlantic City, or he'd be Elon Musk.
Oh, Jesus.
Also, I would argue that most science, no matter how cutting edge, eventually becomes just daily use.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like my little vacuum robot during the time of this movie would not have been a thing.
Guys, our phones.
Oh, yeah.
Our phones are technically magic by fucking Harry Potter standards. Because remember the newspapers, they had moving pictures like our goddamn GIFs.
But yeah, so there's experimental theoretical science, and then there's just mass-produced practical. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. But also the guy who doesn't have a horse in the race necessarily, so weirdly can produce better. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No ego tied up in it.
Mm-hmm. And also none of the anxiety of oh shit, I have to, I have to publish, I have to come up with something new. What are the other people doing? I can't get grants. It's like, nope, I'm here to wash the bottles, and make sure that somebody turns the accelerator on and off.
Speaking of the terrible whims of academia.
Go on.
Yes.
Go on. The plot.
They get kicked out of the university.
Because somebody's noticed that that they're a bullshit lab.
Yeah.
They don't produce results. They're probably not publishing, let's be real.
Their grant has run out, whatever they've got. I bet they had one grant, one.
Oh, yeah.
And they spent all of their money on startup equipment.
Here's the thing, they did have a grant. And they ran out of the money for it. Because I have in my notes, how'd they get the grant?
Venkman was a grant writer.
Venkman. And I think they had one good grant. And it gave them enough time to, they gave them one lab, Dean Yeager gave him one lab, and it's okay, you can clearly get money. Can you do anything else? And the answer is fucking no.
Could not get results.
And you'll notice they had no, grad students in there. There was nobody working. That's what you got to get the grad students going through. Yeah, no, they were basically just cruising on that one grant and doing nothing else.
So yeah, they no longer work for the university. They don't get most of their fancy equipment. They get nothing.
That's what I liked about actually the girls Ghostbusters is that they did establish that they did steal a huge portion of the equipment after they got kicked out. Fuck run.
One of my favorite lines in the movie that probably isn't going to be randomly quoted throughout the rest of this episode is you've never been out of college, you don't know what it's like out there.
I've been in the private sector. They expect results.
Because I've heard that line and I was just sat back and went, girl, same. I've never been outside of academia.
But it makes you think I'm shit. At the time, Bill Murray playing Venkman is supposed to be the same age as, frankly, a bunch of my coworkers. And I'm sitting there being which one of these fuckers? And whoever it is, you're free to like DM me and tell me what about the ghostbusting business that you.
Which of the Ghostbusters are you? Take this one quiz.
Anyway. DM me first so I can hold it over Cat's head.
Yes. Anyway, so yeah, they got kicked out and because Venkman is Venkman and knows how to sniff out money whenever, the opportunity presents itself.
An important skill set, technically.
Yep.
So they decide that the next best course of action
Clearly.
Is to lean full on into capitalism.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the thing. They have
Science.
a lead on an exclusive service and have the ability to tackle that service.
And technically they are the only ones potentially with the ability to do something of that particular nature.
And this is 1980s America, and you gotta survive somehow, man. Ooh.
There are no ethical ghosts under capitalism.
There are none.
We've done that episode already.
So yeah, they decide to set up a ghost-busting business.
We're ready to believe you. Oh, wait, do you believe in spook specters? Oh, shit. I don't know the whole one.
Wow.
Have you been woken up in the middle of the night?
Do you experience cold plate? Blah, 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 blah. Damn it, I gotta memorize that. That's a failing on my part.
That's the next challenge. They take a second mortgage on Ray's house, or was it a third mortgage? I can't remember.
It's something really big and impressive, as I recall.
You didn't even
oh,
haggle
shit.
with the guy.
Everybody has 3 mortgages these days.
There we go. It's 3.
Born in that house. So they use the money to buy a falling apart fire station that we have already described previously in the episode. It was the militarized zone.
Yep.
Although, again, and this is, I actually really like the girl, I shouldn't call it the girl Ghostbusters, but let's just say it's the shorthand for it. The Kevin Feige?
Feige?
No.
Okay, cool. The
Nope.
girl Ghostbusters.
No, wait.
Paul
Paul.
Feig.
Different.
Paul Feig.
Anyway,
Paul
Feige's.
Feig, Kevin Feige.
That's
holy
right.
shit. Okay.
Jeez.
Anyway, one's Marvel, one's not. There's a great joke in that where we get to see, because it's still fucking New York, right? New York is built on the bones of New York. And the original movie did not have enough money to go film elsewhere. So they go back to the original fire station, but because of gentrification, they're like, and here's the quote, and it's like, and they're like, oh, this would be perfect. It's really good. It's like, they get the quote, and it's like, no. And that's why they end up on like the second level above a Chinese restaurant.
But this is 80s New York, which is still a trash fire of a city.
Hell yeah. Which is, I wonder how much of that went into like a vibe that we cannot understand, right? Like, what was it like to be an adult living in the world where New York was like that? And then you see this movie where there's like this feeling of hope. Like that's a big part of like what makes the ending so great, is that people are coming together to try to just be together and fix this thing.
Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters,
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
And so on. And plus also like the idea that I think, when did the EPA start? Because that was under
Nixon.
Nixon
Yeah.
started that. That was what, 70s? When
Yeah,
the fuck was Nixon?
EPA was still very much like the boogeyman.
And it was
at this
brand
time.
new, and it was like Nixon had just been like a dickhead, so like who knows what he'd done? Like, was the EPA secretly evil?
I just want to take a moment right now to say that while the EPA is the villain of this movie, the EPA is a wonderful organization and we should all support it.
We love it, yes, very
It's true.
much. But it
Just
is very...
write that right now
I will
before
also
we
say...
dunk on it later.
Well, wait, no, I will also say, I don't think the EPA was wrong.
Oh no,
Well,
Peck was right.
no,
they had an
I believe that there were legal loopholes that were not, or legal hoops that were not jumped through. I do not think he could have just walked in and done stuff as fast as he did.
No,
Yeah.
possibly not. But
unlicensed
he was...
nuclear generator.
and
I'm
there
not
was-
sure he double checked to make sure. Because Venkman was just being a dick about it.
Venkman was being a dick about it, that's true. But I feel like he went in there knowing already the answers. Because
But
it's
that's
not
different.
hard. Public record searches are not hard.
Also, it's a private business. They would have had an opportunity to fight it in court.
Oh, that
Yeah,
is
but-
also very true.
But
Immediate
The
injunction.
cops can't just come in and do that shit.
They didn't know,
They
but
got a
the,
court
the
order.
thing was in the basement, though. The thing was in the
Peck
basement.
got, Peck got a court order.
Oh, yeah. So he went through the process.
They had their legal remedy. They ignored it.
That's true.
Well, they didn't contact
shit.
their fucking lawyer, though.
But also, though, I think that the EPA had a very good point. This wasn't just something like above the street clearly within their premises. It was in the basement, and they did not know whether or not it went into public land. And, for instance, the sewers and water system.
So they're just going to shut it off without doing a proper investigation?
Well, we don't know, Pippin. Again, we have that warrant specifically that said to shut down anything that was in there.
I'm not sure, Dickless there told the judge all the facts. Y'all.
Walter Peck.
I'm going to send him a nice fruit basket.
I'm going to miss him.
So anyway,
yeah.
The beginning of this movie.
Jumping all over. Let's do the speed run.
Speed run,
My
speed
God.
All right,
Holy
Dana
shit.
being haunted. She
Because we
goes
are
to the
45
Ghostbusters.
minutes in. Okay, go on. And we are 20 minutes into the story, tops.
She goes to the Ghostbusters because she saw the ad.
Because she
Dana.
also saw Zool in her apartment's fridge.
Yeah.
She's got a roommate that she did not want.
And a genuinely creepy scene with the eggs jumping out of the container and boiling, and frying on her counter. I think that is a genuinely pretty fucking great effect.
And physical evidence
And all
that's
practical.
left behind and of that happening.
Yep. Oh my God.
So she goes to the Ghostbusters. They're still kind of useless about it because she wasn't being haunted when Venkman was in the apartment.
And Venkman,
Because Zool didn't want to interrupt
First
that
customer.
vibe.
First customer.
and also
Yes.
and Venkman was more concerned with is getting into her pants and getting rid of her ghost.
Listen,
But they did-
to be fair, she's a classic cellist, and that's kind of impressive.
With a big ass apartment. Did you see
My
that?
I
God,
think that was her
yeah.
grandmother's.
That wasn't the What?
I think it's established that it's her grandmother's.
Really?
Like, it used to be her grandmother's and then went to her. I think it was said
Oh, so it's what's it called?
grandfather rent-controlled apartment?
Rent control.
Whoa.
Because she does talk to her mom. We hear that. Because her mom, she's tight with her family. So if her grandmother got into the, because remember, it was built fairly recently, according to story canon, by the mad scientist, the other mad scientist. How many mad scientists? All of them. The
Igor
Gozer
Shantor.
worshiper. Yeah.
I like how we got a minute into a speed run.
Yep. And we're immediately took a call.
So,
they get called,
and then-
they hire an assistant, and they don't need an assistant yet. They don't have any customers.
They have a secretary.
a secretary, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They arguably don't need it, but anyway.
On the night that they spend the last of their petty cash on a Chinese meal, they get a call
Which
for
is
an
a
actual
deposit
job.
from What's-Her-Head.
Which is the
Yep.
deposit from Dana.
Which,
they get a call. Yes.
and again, not to derail, but does anybody else, whenever they order Chinese food,
Yes.
Yeah.
present the Chinese food and say, this represents the last of the petty cash?
This
Yep.
magnificent feast you see before you represents the last of the petty cash. And
And
I
Choose
do that
slower.
with not
Emphasis on
just
that.
Chinese food. It is with anything where what you see before you is it.
Yep.
Jesus, we've done that how many times, Pippin?
Oh, God.
Hundreds.
So many.
It's a great line.
It's a great line.
So they go to a super fancy hotel. They wreck that shit up with the help of Slimer, who weirdly is the most popular part of this movie.
Even though, like in the cartoons, he's there like a shit ton. There's this whole backstory. He becomes like the animal mascot.
companion,
In the
yeah.
actual film,
He's
he
fucking
has
gross.
he's gross,
Oof.
and he has less than 5 minutes of actual on-screen time.
But he slimed Venkman.
Yeah, he did.
That's proving that he's corporeal in a way.
Yeah. Well, what's it called? Not plasma. What am I thinking of? Snot. Yeah, ghost snot.
Ectoplasm. I'm just saying,
ectoplasm is a
slime
different-
respects slime.
He's here,
Ooh.
Ray. It's
Venkman
looking at me.
Venkman gets full-on slimed. Slimer passes through him, and the response of his friends is to go like, "Oh man, get a sample."
You're so lucky, amazing. I feel so
yeah.
funky.
So they managed to capture that ghost, only doing minor property damage.
No, it was quite before a big party. It's a great sequence. You know what? This is
So it was
this
a
is one of the
wedding.
things- Was it a wedding?
Yeah, there was a
just
wedding cake.
Oh,
Okay.
was there a wedding cake? No.
Yeah.
Jesus. But
There was
you
a
know what
cake.
though? Getting this back to the point of a podcast, our podcast even.
What?
Yeah, I know. This is one of those demonstrations of it. You know how it's really difficult to fill in the middle of a story? One of the techniques you can do is basically having like kind of mini adventures that go towards the larger thing. Not plot coupons. That's a different kind of thing. Which is where, you know, you go to point A and you get given a thing, which allows you to go to point B and you get given a thing. And if you collect all the things, you get to send away for the ending. But rather, you know, if you're not sure what to do, like what adventure, I would call them adventures in my outlines. You know, I have to have a series of adventures in order to complete the thing. So one of the adventures in this is, you know, the first actual capturing of a ghost.
We gotta do some level grinding.
Yep.
Yeah,
like
and just making that happen.
Like on that space heist story that I've been talking about, like...
Space heist.
It is going to be like the collection of adventures rather than plot coupons.
Well, and that's also a lot of romance novels is how you can, with the ones I read anyway. But the adventures are balanced back and forth between here's a thing that's happening that they can do in like the real world that brings them closer, and here's a thing that is like an emotional thing that brings them closer. And so you kind of juggle those back and forth because that's the only way, frankly, that you can make a romance happen in the time frame that so many of them do.
Anyway.
But yeah, so this is an interesting educational thing for writers there.
Yeah.
So they catch a ghost. They then become minor New York celebrities. Business is booming. Woo!
Montage.
There is a montage. Them capturing ghosts. Them, doing a media blitz. Dana just living her goddamn life, restringing her cello. I thought it was cool.
A whole blowjob ghost scene?
Yeah, Ray is a monster fucker. Changed my mind.
This is supposed to be a children's film. That's what they intended. That's what they intended.
It is, yep.
Yep. They're like, and that's why we didn't swear as much.
They hire a new Ghostbuster because business is booming that so much.
And they've all started smoking.
Egon notices a pattern.
Bum bum bum. Well, because he's the science guy. He's always doing the mad science.
Say that this Twinkie represents the neural amount of
paranormal activity in New York.
Yeah. Now imagine a Twinkie the size of like several football fields, etc. and so forth, leading to the amazing line of, you know, Venkman shows up. He's like, we got a problem with the EPA. It's like, oh yeah, that's not all we had to tell him about the Twinkie. And with no, like, what about the Twinkie? Which I'm like, to be fair, valid.
Also, I don't want to gloss over the fact that Winston at one point says, if there's a steady paycheck in it, I'll believe anything you say. Because, you know, mood.
Yeah.
Mood.
Yep.
Like, because there's that wonderful speech from Janine where she's just like, that clearly reading off like everybody's, well, race. It's clearly race. Like, do you believe in
the Loch Ness Monster
and the theory of Atlantis?
If there's a steady paycheck in it, I'll believe anything you say.
And you know what?
Girl,
Mood.
same.
Mood. Absolutely. I want that on a bumper sticker. Wait, no, I don't. Not in this day and age.
Do you want it on a mug?
Yes. But it has to be very clearly a Ghostbusters mug. Anyway. Another thing here though. And another interesting writing thing. As we're getting to the point of change. Cause Pippin, I'm gonna skip ahead just a tiny bit, cause I think we can. Cause the point of change is when the EPA shows up. Sorry. Because they are minor celebrities and the EPA is our villain, sort of. Our mundane villain, as opposed to our paranormal villain. As that starts to kind of coalesce to the first of our climaxes. So we have or not climax, what am I thinking of?
Some rising action.
Thank you. You know, you have your first like, oh shit. Our characters get split. So Ray and Winston are, you know, driving over, I don't know, Brooklyn Bridge or some shit. A bridge in New York that's quite famous and I can't identify. While
Arizona?
Sure. While I think Venkman and Egon are dealing with another thing. And the splitting of the group, actually, that's really difficult to juggle when you're writing. Because they have to because it's easy to sort of see the group as one big character. But in this film, I think that they balance it really well. The idea that they're not only just one big character, they are the science team, they are the Ghostbusters, but they also have these separate tracks. So Ray and Winston have this discussion, like this theological discussion, which Venkman and Egon would not have.
No.
That's true.
So, you know, Winston's extremely practical, but this is the way he and he and Ray can get along, which is not a way that they can get along with each other, which is also true of real human interaction. You know, you can have a relationship with your friends, but you also have separate relationships with every single individual friend. And then there's the relationship you have with the group. And I don't see that a lot in film. Or, you know, it's fascinating that they accomplish this, and they're a bunch of fucking SNL writers.
But yeah. So, Ray and Winston are driving around. Egon is in headquarters, just sort of chilling out. Venkman has gone off, on a date with Dana, who has now been possessed, by Zool.
And also, another reason why I'm afraid of furniture.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Zool gets real handsy, through a chair.
Just to grabby hands.
Grabby hands.
And meanwhile, Rick Moranis, who's also in this movie,
exists! Oh, God! Rick Moranis being both, just amazing.
Being both adorable and, oh, poor buddy.
But you know what also, though? Weirdly for me, I couldn't understand. I'm like, you know what, though, he's making a good point. As, well, when he tries to go free the horse from the carriage after he's been possessed. You know.
Vince Clortho.
Yeah.
The Keymaster.
Hell yeah. But, you know, after Gozer comes, the slaves shall be free. And will rise against their masters. And I'm like, fuck yeah. I would love it if that poor tortured carriage horse got to, like, bite the shit out of everybody.
Yeah.
I have in my notes, Vince Clortho has ADHD and would like to tell you about his hyperfixation, Gozer the Gozerian.
And also this is one of those things where there's also famous New York scenes with, like, whatever the name of that fucking garden is. The
Tavern on the Green.
Yeah.
Let me in! Please, somebody let me in!
Nobody fucking reacts.
No, they turn to look, and the second he dives out of, like, he slinks out of sight.
They could just go back.
My point is no one goes to help.
New York. Yeah. You don't fucking, no.
Well, it's New York, and also it's like a fancy restaurant in New York.
Rich people.
Yeah, they don't care. Oh, it was entertainment.
So anyway.
She keeps trying, guys. She keeps trying.
I try really hard. So Venkman finds Dana possessed, you know, tries valiantly to get her to not be anymore. Please.
I would say that this is like the one fucking time we see him being actually a competent, somebody who's clearly gotten like a degree in something.
But sidebar, he also had horse tranquilizer with him.
Yeah, we don't think about that.
Fair enough.
I appreciate that he was actually pretty calm in the face of an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that he did the right move too. Like, I'd like to speak to Dana. You know, it's like all kind of like typical shit, you know? He actually knew what to do.
Here's the thing, there is no Dana, only Zool. But yeah, you know, he, you know, tries to talk to her, you know, get her in the situation, doesn't take advantage of her, which is terrible that I appreciate that in a movie.
A movie in the 80s?
Yeah, a movie in the 80s. No.
Oh, Jesus. He does not once look down her shirt once she starts floating, which is pretty impressive, I think.
Well, here's the thing, he's into Dana, not Zool, and she said she's Zool.
Listen, his girlfriend, his would-be girlfriend, sleeps above the covers. 4 feet
above
her covers.
And look, he has a rule not to date possessed people.
Well, it's more of a guideline.
Sounds like you got two people in there already. Might be a little crowded.
A great line.
So yes, he's talking to her, getting information. Vince, who was Louis, gets grabbed by the cops, who brings him over to Egon. Go like, I hear you like the weirdos. Here you go. And Egon's like, thank you for my gift. And he and
Janine,
you know, do some questioning, and Janine spends some time touching Egon because, you know,
because girl understands.
tries valiantly to flirt with him, and it just goes over his head.
I know. I don't think it went over his head. I think she was doing a bang up job. It's just that he wasn't, like, that's not his interest.
Listen, he also has ADHD.
Hell yeah.
I mean,
and his hyperfixation is figuring out what's going on.
Oh, wait. You're helping that poor man. It's very, I don't think he's human.
Oh, good times. And everyone gets back to headquarters just in time for Walter Peck to come in with his illegal warrant.
It is not illegal. It was given by... It may have been poorly conceived.
Was it actually signed by a judge, or was it one of those fake ones?
We do not...
He went to the utility. He got somebody from the utilities. Somebody had to have looked at that.
I think,
and there was a cop.
The compromise,
and there was a cop.
Yeah, there's a cop too. I think the compromise is that he may have filed the thing under false pretenses or just mistaken pretenses, and it was probably all sent to Venkman, who just blew it off. There was probably like a court summons that Ian just blew off.
I think it was sent to Egon, and Egon didn't.
Actually, rewind. You do not actually have, like, the warrant part, is not, they wouldn't get involved in that on a legal level.
Okay, but they could challenge it.
Yeah, they could challenge it after the fact, but, like, if, for instance, the EPA did something, like, if the warrant only said you can look around, but then Dickless said, no, shut it off, that would be a grounds for a legal thing. But the warrant is there so that people can't, like, fuck around beforehand.
Because then they'll find out.
And it's probably like, shut it down so it can be properly inspected to make sure it's not fucking
toxic chemicals
into the groundwater.
I'm just saying that there is a step between Venkman being rude to some guy in his office and the cops showing up.
I think the cops are going to show up regardless.
And I think the step was well warranted. Peck, came in and, may have been a bit arrogant, but he had legitimate grounds to do an inspection.
Actually, guys, theory. You may recall that when Walter Peck meets Venkman's covered in ectoplasm and gets a bunch of it onto Peck's coat. At which point, if they do a test on that, because procedural things, they do tests on all sorts of random shit. If they do a test on that and cannot figure out what the chemical is, that's your cause.
Also, think about the time frame here. This is 1984?
Yep.
5 years prior, there was the 3 Mile Island incident.
Oh, fuck.
Ah, shit.
And if you have an unlicensed nuclear accelerator, or say some weird thing in the basement.
They still don't have proof of what's in the basement.
No, but that's where you just need probable cause.
And
probable cause to look, not shut down.
That doesn't matter. It's different rules, different regulations. And
they literally had, like, what was on his coat. Like, that's not just a guess.
Listen,
there's something that doesn't make sense.
I think, we'll be jumping ahead to my story changes here, but, there's going to be a performance review of Walter Peck later. I think there could have been things that he could have done differently to avoid the incident that had happened.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And really, going forward, I believe EPA, we're going to have a department policy such that we're going to have 2 inspectors on site and making sure that we have proper, checks on each other, so that way one person doesn't have unilateral authority here. We want to make sure that there's always a second.
Absolutely. I think that we're going to need to have a little bit more to bring to a judge, because we understand what's going on, but the judges don't necessarily understand our place. So internally, we have to come up with a better system of checks and balances.
My point is, if I'm rude to a guy and kick him off my property, I don't want him to come back with a court order saying that he can mess around with my shit.
Well, then maybe don't, put some fucking goo on him, Pippin.
And maybe, I don't know, be legit business.
Ooh.
And don't have unlicensed nuclear generators strapped to your backs.
Listen, let's not pretend that whatever they were doing in the basement is more harmful than NFTs.
A very valid point. Wait, guys. Where's the Ghostbuster NFT?
Oh, probably
don't put that in the universe.
Why'd you do that?
Sorry, guys. Wait, but you know what?
Ghost NFTs? Wait a second, guys, we're gonna be rich!
Boys, remind me to ask you later if you heard about Troy Baker. So anyway.
Yeah.
I haven't. Go on.
We'll talk about it later.
He's doing voice actor NFTs.
No. Shh. Pippin. So, we gotta do this,
guys. Then Walter Peck still thinks it's a good idea to shut off the generator, and then he causes the apocalypse in New York.
Oops.
You know what, though, Pippin, if this is a god talking, this could be a Judas situation whereby, because of the prophecy, he was intended to do that. He had no free will. No free will. No free will, Pippin.
That's a heresy.
No free will.
Also, the EPA is a federal agency. Do they have jurisdiction in New York City?
Go on. Just go.
Anyway, so, then the action-adventure climax happens.
Actually, but then we get a really amazing musical, a musical montage. And the reason I'm pointing this out...
wait, they get arrested first.
What?
They get arrested first.
I want
these
don't.
men arrested.
It's a simultaneous. So the ghosts start exploding out. They're getting arrested. Shit goes bad. Vince Clortho's like, oh, I know where to go now. He wanders off. Dana's like, oh, I see the sign is here. Let me explode my fucking apartment in a fantastic and deeply sexy scene. And, and meanwhile, after her apartment blows up then we see the ghosts that are coming out of the thing being re-released into New York. And so the little individual Twinkies that we had seen previously are now the giant fucking Twinkie stomping down onto New York. And it's an amazing sequence. And the music is, I think a lot of it must have been created for the film in a pop kind of way. And the reason I'm bringing that up is that because I didn't realize how important it was to me until I watched the most recent one, that is supposed to be a direct continuation of this film, of this universe. And the music just was not there. And it made me realize just how integral, really, the music in that scene and in earlier portions of the film.
In the entire movie, really.
Yeah. But just the vibe, you know? And it's hard to tell whether or not that's because I grew up with it, but it was definitely, it was odd to not get the same sort of emotional punch, and it was because, for me, the music was lacking. So, I just wanted to call out how great the music is in this. Go on.
Fair. So,
which is definitely a storytelling thing for writers.
So, they get arrested. They actually figure out what's going on now that they're all in the same room.
Yeah, because they're all in prison. And, yeah, it's the thing where, because Ray and Winston had gone off to get that information, and Ray was looking, he's like, these are very odd. And Winston's like, I have a theory. This is the gathering the exposition moment.
But the point is, this entire night, they haven't actually been in the same place until, the reactor blew up. And now they have a moment to sit down and okay, here's all the information that we've gathered about what's happening tonight.
Speaking of, and I am going to bring it back to...
Your girlfriend's apartment?
Sorry.
Spook Central.
Is in the corner penthouse. Is in the
You're right.
Is in the corner penthouse of Spook Central.
She's not my girlfriend. She's just a woman I was interested in. Okay. Point is though, again, bringing it back to the point of the podcast. This is what I know. This is actually one of those. We've talked, I think, in the past about exposition and things. If you look at this is just pure exposition. This is just. We have information that the audience now needs to know in order to understand the last 15 minutes of the film. Okay?
Also, all the other guys in Naka up looking at the schematics as if they know as if they know.
But it goes to the theory of because if this had happened in an earlier part, a different part of the film, or right at the top, before you knew to have questions, before you knew that there is a mystery to be solved here, before you gave a fuck about getting to the end. That's where exposition becomes a problem. When they give it to you at that point, it becomes catharsis. You've had questions up to that point. They've had questions. And now you all get to experience the answers to those questions.
The revelation.
The book of Revelation.
Which then lets you understand the last 15 minutes. And so that's one of those really interesting, that's how you do good exposition, Yeah,
exposition before that point's just world building.
Well, and also, you even get the as you know, Bob, because he's like, you've read that, and pretend I've never read that. You never studied.
You never did this.
Which allows Ray to tell the audience something that technically all the rest of them should know, while also giving a nice joke and a character moment to both of them.
Never study.
We all had that friend in school.
Yeah. Yep.
Some people might accuse me of being that friend in school. I don't want to talk about it. So, it's not my fault. I'm better than other people. So then they get called by the mayor, who wants the experts from all the different fields, which includes the Ghostbusters, since there are ghosts around.
Well, and religious authorities, the cardinal, the fire department. I mean, it's a reasonable group.
The walls in the
everyone he can.
The walls in the 24th precinct are bleeding.
Oh God,
Great
good
line
reading. He had one job, and he knew you know what? He understood the assignment.
So
the walls
the
in
mayor...
9-9 are bleeding.
Ooh, I'd watch that.
I would too.
So, oh my gosh.
Pippin's forgotten the rest of it, and now we can go home.
No, I am in control. So Walter Peck says his piece. The mayor of New York goes, you know what? Fuck off. Give the Ghostbusters anything they need to solve this problem because I have eyes and seeing is believing. So,
well, and one of them knows how to sell the sizzle, and that guy is Venkman and not Walter Peck.
Nope.
Yep. Also, Venkman looks very calm in this situation because he's calm in an emergency, whereas Peck was just running his mouth.
Yep.
But they caused an explosion.
Yeah, he said that with no real basis that they caused it.
Also, a great mayor, by the way. Very New York, like, yeah, that's some fucking 80s shit right there. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, my brain went into a bad place where New York mayors, where they go in the future. So, the Ghostbusters, get like a military escort over to Spook Central.
People gather. It's a nice
by
moment.
this point, Dana and, Louis,
No, it's not Dana and Lewis.
It's Zool.
Listen,
and
I was trying to go for
It's
consistency.
Zool and Vince Clortho.
I was trying to go
want
for
to-
consistency for what their names have been up to this point.
Listen, just consent. I'm just saying. Technically, those two didn't fuck.
I just wanted to point out that by this point they have turned into dogs.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. The
And they're
visions
up on
that
the roof.
Dana saw in her fridge the first time.
Yeah. They get there, they climb all the stairs up to the very top because
What
elevators
floor?
aren't working.
What floor are we on?
20th. Or
How far do we have
17th.
to go?
I forget.
Oh, yeah, no, see, man, guys, we're
details.
getting tired.
Yeah.
We
We
are.
gotta rewatch the movie.
That's the only solution. So they get up to the roof, and up there waiting for them is Gozer, the Gozerian, who
Hot.
can get it.
Hot. But, very fascinatingly, it's like, oh, it's girls. Like, technically, no. Gozer is just Gozer.
Yeah.
You know, looks vaguely femme, but even for the 80s, it's kind of like, you know, wearing a bubble suit. It's fine.
Has a kind of
Wearing high heels, but maybe Gozer just feels that way.
has kind of a
Gozer's gender is Gozer.
kind of has a,
Yeah.
a David Bowie thing going on.
Exactly. So I believe that it's like, they reference, you know, why does, you know, Gozer look like a girl? And it's like, nah,
It's Babylonian.
which is pretty fucking cool for the early 80s.
Also, I remembered now. It's when we get to 20, you tell me, because that's when I'm going to throw up.
Yes.
Anyway, go on.
The point is, Gozer's gender is Gozer, and their pronouns are the Gozerian. And then they have the best exchange in the whole movie, which is, "Are you a god?" No.
No?
Thank you, fucking
Then
Ray.
Die.
Gozer's
Ray.
only interested in talking to their peers.
Ray, if someone asks, "Are you a god?" You say yes.
And I love that it's the religious guy. It's Winston, who's like, "Come on, man." Even
I have in my notes and other important lessons from my childhood.
Listen, we know how it goes. We know what to do.
So they try to, you know, zap Gozer.
Nope.
Doesn't fucking work.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Gozer then goes, "Choose the form of your destroyer." And Venkman, I think, is all like, "Don't think of anything."
Venkman's fast on the uptake.
We got the tools.
Ray.
We got the talent.
Ray goes in a different direction. Goes, "Oh, I will think of a harmless thing, and that's how I will solve this." So a 50-foot Stay Puft Marshmallow Man comes to terrorize New York.
Like you do.
It happens.
Whomst among us.
Whomst.
Also, a very well foreshadowed Marshmallow Man.
Oh yeah, because Dana had bought Stay Puft Marshmallows earlier in the film, and so on.
And then it keeps on getting used in all whole forever or Ghostbusters media afterwards, and it loses its charm.
No, I would buy Stay Puft Marshmallows to this fucking day.
Well, no.
Oh, we're talking about
the its use in films, in the movie. In films.
Oh, okay.
Also, I want to call out my favorite not swear, which was Mother Puss Bucket.
I still use that to this day. Mother Puss Bucket? So good.
Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, King Konging it, all around New York. And they come up with a new plan.
New plan.
Which is that they are going to cross the streams.
Egon,
but wait.
You said that crossing the streams was bad.
Was bad.
Which we actually hadn't mentioned in the podcast until this very moment.
Jesus.
It wasn't important up till now.
No, this gets back to, this is actually, like, again, when you have your adventures to fill in the middle part of your story, also drop in useful shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the Slimer bit, Egon was like, oh, by the way, don't cross the streams. Like, why? It's like,
it would be bad.
How bad? It's like total
I'm fuzzy on the whole good-bad thing. What's
Imagine
bad?
every atom in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Okay, so that's bad. Everybody?
Good to know.
Don't cross the streams.
And then, with a fuck it, we're dead anyway kind of attitude.
Valid.
Yeah, they're like, might as well. Cause there is a slight chance it'll work. And at this point, slight chance is better than anything else that they've got.
The person who's come up with it is the mad scientist, not the optimist, and not the con man.
Yeah. So this is the best chance they've got.
Yeah.
They cross the streams, and they win.
Yeah.
Stay Puft Marshmallow Man explodes and covers everything, in marshmallow. Though, shout out to Bill Murray for convincing the set designers, set dressers, that he should not be covered.
He was the love interest. He needed to have a clear face.
Of course.
Everybody else.
I know. So good.
I'm like, bless your heart. Lewis and Dana are saved.
Although
New York
there's
rejoices.
a brief moment of like, oh no, are they dead? Are they still bug people? And so we get the brief moment of like, oh, and like, Venkman does have a heart.
It smells like barbecued dog hair.
Oh, Venkman.
Oh, Vin, I'm so sorry. I'm so a big marshmallow face.
Hey!
Oh, Venkman.
Hey! Who turned out the lights?
Somebody check on the little guy.
I'd like to get a sample of your brain.
And so the day is saved.
The end in that film, and we don't talk about the second one.
And you know, in real time talking here, we've almost done the exact runtime of the frickin' movie.
Good job, guys. Have we left any lines actually out yet?
Wait, let me check my notes.
Wait, actually,
I love this plan. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, yep.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, who's the stiff? Yes, mother from TV. Oh, yes, mom from TV.
Some ancient Babylonian god, Sumerian. Never studied.
Let's split up. We can do more damage that way.
Oh my god, a great line.
Yeah. Anyway.
Total protonic reversal.
Now we've done it.
Yep.
Ooh. We already did cross the streams.
Cross the streams.
Oh, you, Dr. Venkman, are a poor scientist.
Ooh.
But the kids love us.
Okay, guys.
All right.
We are not trying to prove. We cannot try to prove that we actually know the whole film.
Okay. All right. I think that brings us to story changes.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Go for it, Al.
Do it.
Let's set this in fucking England.
Wait, that's the AU game.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Or is this genuinely what you...
You're right.
If you don't have anything, I actually have something.
Okay, actually.
Which is, if I were making this film, even back in the 80s, I don't think the blowjob scene was necessary. I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was over the top.
I think that was an example of a scene that was in the first draft, which I believe is actually true. I think there was like an entire sequence where they were like fighting like revolutionary ghosts or something. And it was like a precious scene to Dan Aykroyd or one of the, or Ramis or one of them. And they desperately wanted to keep some remnant of that scene.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? I feel like there's ways you could have done it. Like the idea of the, you work something that's a horror enough, but then, all right, fine. And sometimes you want to fuck it too. I think that that's valid, and I think it's interesting. I just don't like the blowjob scene. Because one, it makes it real awkward. Two, tighty whities are strange. I don't need to see it.
Yeah.
I don't need to see Dan Aykroyd's dick, even in like vague profile. It's just weird. And it seems out of keeping with a lot of the rest of it.
There are other ways to show that their work-life balance is messed up.
Yes. I love when, when we see that in the real world, they're all sleepwalking, they're all sleeping poorly, somebody falls out of bed. I think that's great. It's just that. And I'm gonna stick with that one thing, because otherwise, I know that otherwise I take everybody else's. That's like my one big change. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's over the top. And I think it distracts.
So with replacing it, like you're just suggesting, like in that montage sequence or just maybe throughout the film, just having a slow deterioration in their lives,
or just replace it with a scene where he pours his coffee in his bowl of cereal.
Actually, you know what? I could still keep the sex, as it were. But what if instead of, the ghost going down on him, we just see a beautiful ghost. Maybe he's not in bed. Maybe he's sitting up or something, like he's at his desk, one of the desks or something, going over reports. And a beautiful ghost comes up and just, starts nibbling lightly at his neck. It's just one of those, like, the implication of sex as opposed to Dan Aykroyd's dick.
It's about the implication.
Or maybe he dances with a ghost. Alex went with a Sunny reference, which was better.
It is about the implications. To me, that's too sweet. I still want the sexy edge. I just want it to be naughty as opposed to,
as opposed to raunchy.
Yes, there it is.
As was
naughty
the style of
raunchy.
the times. Ugh.
Exactly. Which is like weird that like that's the place. Weirdly, like, okay, so like where the line is in my head, dialogue wise, when we hear Venkman say, he's a sailor, he's in New York, we get him late, we're fine. Technically, that's a pretty filthy joke, if you really dive into it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, because it's said pretty quickly, but also it requires that you kind of know what sailors are famous for, what port cities are famous for, etc. And understanding what the word laid means. And maybe your average 8-year-old doesn't.
Yeah, definitely not, yeah.
So, whereas the active act of unzipping pants, like there's genitals happening.
Yeah,
so
I agree with that.
So you could have something, so if you have something with it, like, just a ghost, coming up and like kind of like blowing in his ear, something like that. We all, as adults, are like, oh shit, but he's about to get to fuck town with this ghost. Younger people, or people who are just not interested in seeing that kind of thing, can interpret it a different way. Or at least can just have it go over their heads.
I mean, when I was a kid, it went over my head.
The blowjob scene?
Yeah.
I didn't understand for me, I didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah, same.
Which was weird. And there's like, and it made me uncomfortable because I didn't understand, because it was a break in the story. It was taking me out of the story because I couldn't figure out what's happening.
Yeah.
Which, as we know, trying to keep the reader or the audience in a state of that hypnotic state of being in a story. We don't want to break them of that.
The suspension of disbelief.
Ish. But yeah, like, yes. Where you're putting in the chips, you're willing to be entertained. But you, provided that nothing kind of interrupts that. Although there is a whole spectrum of art that's all about the interruption to the point where it becomes, etc. Point is, that's where, so I still like the sexy thing. I think it says something interesting about where they are in their, like, journey, ghost-wise. But I don't like the execution of it. And that's what I would change.
Fair enough. Let's see. Normally at this point I go, let's add women. But the Paul Feig Ghostbusters exists.
And I actually really like that one, so, like...
Yeah, it says a lot about women in academia.
Yes.
Which is a whole separate thing, but what this Ghostbusters was saying about academia. Both valid points.
And if you think about it, technically there's a very strong female character who's not entirely defined by the romantic relationship. In fact, mostly what she's defined by is she has a fucking ghost in her apartment.
There's also Janine. Also,
oh
Janine.
yeah, Janine's great. Janine is getting it. She is not being gotten. She's like, I am here, and I am like, I've noticed that these people could probably theoretically be a provider. He looks like he fucks. I don't know how, but he does.
Yeah, so that's usually, my go-to thing. And I have ideas for AUs.
You could make it gay.
I could make it.
It's not hard to make it gay. It's not hard.
I mean, a homosocial environment right there.
Yeah.
Right. Fire. The pole, Pippin. The pole. They weren't dating anybody else.
And here's the thing. We were just talking, about, the sex dream. And it's dreaming of a ghost, and there is a sort of tendency in queer art, towards monstrous things. Because queer people get othered. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, if you think we're monsters anyway,
we might as well
lean into it.
Exactly. Next thing you know, you're giving a lap dance to Satan, killing him, and taking the crown of hell.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Or having thoughts that you think are wrong, and in your subconscious, it, expresses itself in odd ways, like, say, a ghost. So that, because you know that something's off in what you think you should be.
But it's a girl ghost, guys. It's a girl ghost.
That makes it straight. I asked the ghost gender, it's fine.
She's a
ghost boss. So yeah, that's one avenue. Because I was complaining about it so much, I might bring more of the law into it.
Yeah, you're doing the accounting and stuff that I tend to do. You're getting into the weeds of, like, actual practical shit.
Listen, they're a private small business.
You've been in New Hampshire too long.
Listen, New Hampshire's bullshit, but it's bullshit in a way I understand.
But Pip, we do...
Do they have health care?
But Pip... we do need ghost catching regulations.
Do ghosts have civil rights?
Well, are they people? Are they people?
Are they people? Or are they just manifestations of psychic energy given via ectoplasm?
If you're going to give rights to ghosts, when are you going to give them to the dogs, animals, and let's be fair, horses of New York City?
Listen, there's a whole debate about when life begins. When does life truly end?
Ooh.
Anyway, so yeah, I actually am fascinated by the legal ramifications of the Ghostbusters. And I think that should be explored more. That's what I think.
That's what you think?
Yeah.
Through Walter Peck?
Well, the EPA is certainly one aspect, but also, I'm not kidding about the civil rights aspect. Cause that sounds like unlawful, imprisonment.
Ooh. That would be very fascinating.
Right?
Like, what if you turned the whole thing into this?
Do the ghosts have consciousness when they're in the trap?
In the cartoons they do.
Ooh.
Remember? Because we would get, whole not storylines, but, like, sometimes the Ghostbusters would get trapped in there, or the ghosts would be working together to try to get out. We got to see the formlessness of the world that they exist in within the, trap. Not trap,
Ghost
the
unions.
big thing. The containment center.
And there's a slight implication that Egon has kind of invented hell or limbo.
I think it's supposed to be like a limbo, and it's like, I don't remember if they really went into it, but like they kind of should have.
Yeah, there's a whole religious aspect going on.
Which is canon.
Because if ghosts exist, then there's an afterlife.
But only for some.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are implications.
Yeah.
It's about the implications.
So
yeah, that's mine.
Yeah. So I'm going to, for me, our actual theorist thing, I'm actually wondering, how did they all meet? How
did they what?
How did they all meet? Like, was it a case of just Egon and Ray happening to meet while at say a meetup of parascience investigators, paranormal investigators, and did Venkman just happen to find these two of the easiest marks that he could milk for a while?
Actually,
faculty orientation.
I'm actually going to push back on that one because Egon's off doing his own thing, but it's Ray and Venkman who are really, like, getting drunk together quietly in a corner while trying to figure out what to do with their lives. I say that they actually have known each other longer.
Oh, they were students? They've known each other since students?
I say they have known each other since undergrad.
Ooh.
Because, for instance, who knew that Ray had a house that he could get mortgaged? He didn't think of that shit.
I think they met in new faculty orientation.
No. I say that that's where Ray met, because I think it was Ray meets Egon. I think that they, worked together in a different thing. Maybe remember, he worked in the private sector. Maybe that's where, but I think that's where that friendship goes. And then they all got thrown together because Ray was the glue. He was the hinge point, you know? Because then we see, at this point now, Venkman keeps candy bars for for Egon in his coat pocket. But you don't see them hanging out together, you know? That's not a thing that they do.
They're both very practical minded, and one of that practical things is we don't really have much to talk about, so both on our way.
Well, yeah, but like they understand the purpose of each other.
Yeah.
But I think that they are both friends with Ray. And again, this gets right back down to, for whatever reason, this film is really good at showing these kinds of weird little relationships. Like there's the big group, but then there's your individual different relationships with people within the group. I think it's just fascinating.
People are not sure what to do now that mutual friend is gone.
I'm imagining they had poster sessions next to each other and then hit it off.
Oh my God.
Egon.
Yes. Actually, or what if they both attended the same fucking, paranormal conference? And they both ended up wandering around, they both showed up at the same panel, but they were the only two people who showed up because it was the boring panel.
The thing that I said
here's the thing. Well, if you do scientific presentations, you're likely to have the poster session where you're just standing in front of your poster for hours.
I do love that. Where they just,
and so they're standing next to each other, and then they just talk about each other's research and how, hey, a lot of their research goals align. Isn't that fun?
And then that's when, and that's when Ray's actually, and it's amazing, but, you should meet my collab owner. He got us this grant. And, there's, Egon being you got a grant for this? Cause I've been having to just do ECE work, and then doing this as as my side thing.
Okay. So it's just me. Oh no.
And then the quickest game in the fucking universe.
Oh yes.
Listen, I'm hoping for AU because I have an idea.
Well, because here's the thing, I was of a similar mind to Kat where I didn't really want to have the, awkward, 80s sex comedy bits in this because I don't think the film needed it. It's ghosts and ghost busting. Oh, the thing that you were talking about. So I'm kind of,
we can also
pivoting here. Yeah.
Do you want to remove Lewis's awkward awkward as hell party?
Considering I didn't even mention it.
Yeah.
No, actually I thought it was fine. It was weird. I think that might be one of those ones where the 80s.
It is very 80s.
And there's a joke, I think there's a joke there that we're not quite getting.
I feel like if we were to try and tell this story today, or if we wanted to be a little less awkward with it, I feel like you could probably write Lewis a little bit differently, such that, he's not,
a stalker?
Not a stalker, yeah.
Also, not quite it. This was very much nerds aren't cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though, we have scientists as the main characters, nerds are supposed to be cool in Ghostbusters. Come on.
Yeah.
But also part of the joke is that he's the keymaster for like this intensely beautiful woman.
Yeah. Honestly, that would probably be, that would probably be like one thing that I'd probably alter is just, you know, do we need all that extra innuendo stuff? And I mean, the kids don't care. And at the end of the day, you know, I don't really care about that stuff either. We're here for ghosts and ghost busting.
I mean, I can do a whole, essay about the gatekeeper and the keymaster and the gender roles therein without all the added innuendo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, there's some weird stuff there, which, I mean, it gets kind of glossed over. I mean, there's some, it's room for extra innuendo, which is always fun, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'd probably want to try and tackle Lewis a little bit, maybe give him a little bit of an arc while we're kind of noodling on the story a little bit. Because, I mean, imagine if we're all talking about, like, character arcs throughout this film, like, there probably could be, like, a future revision where you'd have, like, a little bit more change for a character, right? You know, where do we start? Where do we end? Lewis, he's right back where he started, really.
It's because in the middle of a comedy film, he is the comic relief.
Yeah.
And then
And maybe I don't know, like, it could be like that thing where, like, maybe instead of being, like, a stalker nerd, he's kind of like a gym bro douchebag.
Oh my god, Channing Tatum.
you mean
There we go.
you mean
But
the
here's
bit
the
that
thing,
they you mean when they did that in the girl Ghostbusters with
I loved him.
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth.
Well,
Fucking brilliant casting choice.
because then, like, you know, with the whole entire, being turned into a dog thing, you know, maybe it has that character learn some humility at the very end. At least there's a different, like a change in status quo for that character as well.
Well, I don't think that he needs to learn humility. I think that I genuinely think, and this is not to say anything bad about, what's his head, the actor Rick Moranis, who's a national fucking treasure.
Yeah.
But the fact that we know two things about him. He's an accountant who is very interested in business, such that he has a party not with friends, but with clients. So it's a tax write-off, which is actually a great line. And I think that you could expand that a little bit. Like, that's a interesting way to think about the world. And that he has, like, a thing that will never happen for Dana. Though, I'm gonna say, while he does ask her out a bunch, I didn't get the vibe of him being over the top inappropriate. It's weird that he lives on the same fucking floor, he needs to get a thing, but, like, weirdly, I actually felt more creeped out by Venkman's behavior.
Oh, yeah, Venkman behavior. Yeah. Ooh.
So, I feel like it would not have read as, like, he needs to get over it, but more as, like, look at that pathetic guy. You know?
Yeah.
And I think that those are the only two things we know about him. And one of those is dumb and we should get rid of it. But the other one, I think you could dive into.
Yeah, it's like, I don't think we need necessarily, like, Lewis as source of ridicule.
Yeah.
Which is, like, as far as the lens of the story here is kind of how he's being presented.
Vince Clortho would be an interest. I don't mind him as, you know, source of humor.
Oh yeah, Vince Clortho is
but
hilarious.
Louis Tully, different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Vince Clortho, at the end of the day, one, he's telling the truth about the horse. And also, he's the fucking keymaster. He is one of the two heralds of the coming of Gozer. Like, he's got a role. It doesn't matter how fucking stupid he is.
Maybe it's like something where, like, if there was a bit more of a difference between Lewis and Vince Clortho. So, like, it's like that Prince and the Pauper kind of situation, you know, like,
interesting.
Drastic change in, like, poise and confidence, maybe.
I
mean, they do act pretty different. I mean, and compliments to Rick Moranis as he played Vince Clortho.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, Vince Clortho as presented was still kinda like
he was walking
nerdy bringer of the apocalypse.
But I actually, at that point, I did not feel uncomfortable with him.
That's true.
And his body language actually, he showed was actually more dog-like.
And if you think about it, it's a very fascinating way of reading a bringer of the apocalypse, is this fucking, like, have you heard the word of Jesus, Gozer? You know, it's a fascinating read.
That's true.
What's not fascinating is, frankly, the unoriginality of the kind of nerd who wants the girl but will never get the girl because he's a nerd.
Yeah. I think we could probably do
with
away
his pants
that.
too high. With his pants too high. Whereas, like, with Vince Clortho, with his shirt untucked, I'm like, okay, Rick Moranis. Okay.
I see you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the thing I would tackle, I guess, is...
Nice.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And then it makes his maybe role in the second movie, whatever, a bit different. Hey.
Like, I want to be a Ghostbuster too. Like,
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's things we could adjust.
We're not talking about the second movie.
the second movie.
Not yet.
Because that's a whole... Oh,
The
Jesus.
second movie was a character assassination of Janine.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, in all seriousness, the second one, if you watch this one, the most recent one, I want to have a mini-sode where we just talk about, like, the deep implications.
You say it's a mini-sode, but that would be like 5 hours long. Anyway.
Speaking of, we should get to the next bit.
Yeah, so we can
Jeez.
get on with our lives. Oh my goodness. You know, new year, new episode,
Guys,
super
real
long.
talk. We are actually longer than the runtime of the film at this point.
Oh yeah.
So-
Well aware.
Brendan's like, I am seeing my Ghost of Christmas future. It is a
So-
grave.
Y'all, let's play a game.
Make it quick.
Let's play a quick round of Everything Changed when the Baristas Attacked.
Oh, your favorite game, you mean?
Yes.
That is fair.
Because I have in my notes
Uh-huh.
that I would love an episode of BuzzFeed Unsolved about Gozer the Gozerian.
Holy shit.
Oh,
Mother of God.
that's
just-
nice.
Just an episode about, like, Gozer, maybe about this specific incident. Just that whole sort of thing. Or
Oh my
a
God.
Puppet History episode about Gozer.
Wait,
What episode?
Puppet History.
Oh, God.
who would accidentally summon the puppet as the Destructor?
I mean, are we talking about the Ghostbusters or? Cause Shane would summon a puppet.
Well, which one's the skeptic and which one's the, like, believer?
Shane's a skeptic.
Okay, I can genuinely, at this very moment, just see him not reading from the Book of the Dead, because I don't think he's that dumb, but
Well,
doing just calling loudly into various locations, like, anyone there? Gozer?
hey demons, it's me, your boy.
You know, to piggyback on Pippin here, and also to keep our momentum going here, because I love the momentum.
He's got the muddler. Run!
Yes. The thought that came to mind, Pip, as you mentioned that, is the Try Guys fight ghosts.
Without a manual.
Without a manual, yes.
They just get, like, we have to make a proton pack. We know this. We've seen the movie. How do you make a
you've
proton
done
pack?
science.
Meanwhile, Eugene's in the corner, just, like, quietly, and now he has a proton thing. And it's like, I don't know, it just came together, and also it's color coordinated.
What did
But I don't
you
want to
do,
carry
Zach?
it, so it's a...
Why would I want to capture the ghosts? I want to free the ghosts.
Also, I saw that scene. I know what I wanted.
Yeah. And just keeping on the momentum, gonna keep on piggybacking.
Damn it.
Like Ghostbusters, Mythbusters, they meet and do a crossover episode.
What happens when you cross the streams? Is there an important difference? Is it always going to do that? Like, we shouldn't test that one. But what if we did?
What if we did?
Let's call our safety consultant, and he can try to convince the network to let us try.
Our
Guys,
safety consultant said no, but we're doing it anyway.
listen, it's science if we write it down.
Well, I can imagine, like, Egon going over the science with the team in the background, and you just kind of see somebody, like, shaking their head like, my God, you guys have this on your back.
And whoever the guy is with the beret just
Jamie?
is constantly
Jamie,
at
yeah.
least 20 feet away. and we'll do it in like the circling radius and refuse to get closer.
But Jamie's also going to be the one who builds his own.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. But a safer one.
I can just see the secondary team in the background already wearing the packs.
Yes.
And shooting up into the sky.
Guys, can I continue the memento on this one?
Yeah.
Can I piggyback?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm feeling a reality TV kind of vibe here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
and I'm so sorry. I'm gonna do this. I was never a fan. I've never watched a single fucking episode. Jackass. Ghosts.
No, explain
there
yourself.
There are ghosts around. There are ghosts. They're happening. And what are you gonna do? Maybe you're gonna try to fuck one. Maybe you're gonna go up. What happens? Get slimed intentionally.
And bam, right. There's a slime meringue or what right now.
What happens? Somebody's gonna put their hand in front of the proton. In front of the proton stream.
No. Someone's going to put their dick in front of the proton. Unpack.
Oh,
yeah, that's more
what?
Jackass.
Oh, cake? Yep.
No, dick.
What?
I said dick.
Their dick.
In front of the proton.
Oh, the dick. Yes, that makes sense. Yep. Well, that's how you fuck the ghost. Just in a world where these ghosts exist are fucking around with somebody uses the ectoplasm as lube, but they don't do it on screen. They just mention it afterwards. Or that they're going to.
It's not good.
Ew.
It's not good lube. It's sticky.
Listen.
Ew. But it's organic.
Anyway.
Somebody has that knowing shaking of the head directly at the camera.
Yes.
Eye contact.
Here's the thing. You know what that is, though? That's taking that raunchy thing that I didn't like in this and just being like, that's the movie. And if you do it from that point of view, weirdly, that would work because you know what you're getting into.
For one thing.
You know?
Well, for one thing, it's already R-rated, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I gotta tell you, weirdly, I would be into a film or a story where this is just shit that happens. And yeah, there's the serious people over there, and then there's the chasing the fairies over there, and then there's the fucking idiots who are like, what can we do with this?
I can see that as being like the story of the idiots have to solve a real problem and have to like basically bumble their way into.
Well, they have to acknowledge that there was a problem first.
Yeah, but a real problem happens and they have to actually address it.
This is Jackass, and this is stopping and Gozer the Gozerian. And
oh god.
Yeah, and in the background they're like, do we want to stop them?
That's the thing. That'd be like an alternate. No, sorry, that's the thing. It'd be an alternate telling of the Ghostbusters story, and that's how they get to the same conclusion. It's just like, guys, I have a really stupid idea.
Well, also, that's what you still get with that, though, is you still get, for instance, somebody thinking of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but in this case, they did it on fucking purpose. And that's one person did it faster than a giant walking dick. And they're like, man! And that's why they get angry at him, but for a different reason. I love keeping, like, themes. I love keeping, like, high points, but twisting it. Go on, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say someone I was trying to think of giant titties.
Oh, yeah, wait, that's better. Like, how else do you want to die?
And you thought of a fucking Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Come on, asshole.
Well, it's kind of the same texture. Oh, fucking.
Oh.
How am I supposed to fuck that? If you can't figure it out, you're not trying. Again, I have never seen this show. I've seen literally all I've ever seen is, of course, the zeitgeist of having grown up, I guess, with that. And a few different viewings of the preview for the film, I guess, is coming up, of like all of them at 40 still fucking doing this stuff.
Yep.
This is all I'm getting it from. But wow. I agree. I think there needs to be a plot. But how do you get a plot within that universe?
No, I still think it's the serious stuff that's happening. Maybe Team Serious gets their shit kicked.
God, oh my god, I figured it out. You know how you do it? Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Or is it a the other guys kind of movie?
I'm saying Rosencrantz and Guildenstern because there's definitely real people handling this problem over there. And then these are these fuckers who are stuck in this story.
Well, that's the thing. They can be over there trying to solve the problem. I'm just saying they get taken out of commission, so it has to be our lovable group of idiots that have to save the world. God help us all.
There's a lot of interesting things this could be.
That's true. That's true. We have a lot of interesting stories here.
What?
But,
almost the point of the podcast.
What? Weird.
What? Fake.
Do we have anything else to talk about Ghostbusters before we finally sign off for the night?
Nope.
Jesus.
Any plugs?
No. What?
Any plugs?
Any plugs?
Oh, I actually, for once, don't have anything going on. I'm still writing a game, for Heart's Choice. Recently I was at Worldcon, and I think sometime within January they're going to, release the recordings, and you can still get a virtual membership so you can watch those, I believe. And other than that though, I'm leading a very boring life at the moment. I'm so much like you guys now.
Wow.
Rude.
Wait a second, like, January 2022, not much is happening in terms of social interaction?
What?
Weird. Yeah, likewise, I don't really have much going on right now. Things are kind of taking an understandable pause.
Are they?
Yes. Weird. Pip Al, anything? No?
No.
I've gotten really into Wordle.
Oh, whomst among us?
Yeah.
Like, join us for our next episode, Wordle.
The Wordle
AU the Wordle. That's a mini-sode right there.
Boom. Alright. Well then, that was Ghostbusters. And as always...
the entire fucking thing.
Yeah, the entirety of Ghostbusters. You don't have to watch it. Now you have new context. Whatever. And as always, if you have an idea or prompt to submit, head on over to nostorysacred.com/submission. Follow us on Twitter at nostorysacred, or send an email through contact@nostorysacred.com. Your hosts have been Alex McDonald, Brennan McDonald, Pippin McDonald, and Catherine Crichton. Editing for this episode done by Brendan. Transcript done by Ashley DaCosta. Art by Jay Wolf. Show notes and transcript are available at nostorysacred.com. Thanks for listening, everyone. And please rate, review, and subscribe to No Story is Sacred. You can also visit our Patreon page to support the show and get neat rewards at patreon.com/nostorysacred. See you next time when we talk about the 1992 film, Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Fuck yes.
Da-da-da.
Oh my god, I'm so hyped for this. You have no fucking clue. And Pippin is already dreading the day.
Pippin
I'm gonna
always
be fine.
dreads.
Everything is fine. I'm already my rant about Mina Harker.
Mina Harker is a god, and I will not, we're not talking about it yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. We gotta watch it. It's gonna be amazing.
So until then, where no story is sacred, and any story can be changed. I'm Brendan.
I'm Pippin.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Kat.
And we're No Story is Sacred.
Sacred.